Hello and welcome to the first ever show for the My Business Story podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Perez. Welcome. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. I hope you're ready because today we have Lori Miller, health coach, yoga instructor, boss babe extraordinaire. She's amazing. She's multifaceted and she's here. And we're going to talk to her. Lori, how you doing?
Good morning, or should we say afternoon right now, right?
Yeah, it's afternoon.
Wherever you are.
Yep,
Come on.
here in the East Coast. We are going to talk about s- business, how things started, how things ended, how things maneuver, and next steps for you, Lori. And so first things first, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you are right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to. So I am right now in New London, Connecticut. I'm looking out my window at the beach, which is a little bit foggy this morning. We're waiting for summer. But that's where I am logistically. Where I am personally is the best place I've ever been in my entire life. I am approaching my 60th birthday, and not a lot of women, yeah, not a lot of women are excited about that. I don't know how really excited I am about it, but we can't change it, right? And I got here, so I might as well celebrate it. Um and I've been with the company that we're going to be talking about a little bit today about 11 years now, and I'm excited for the growth of the company. I'm excited for to see where they're going, to see where they came from, and just really excited because they're not slowing down. I mean, this is the beginning. This is really the beginning, and I'm super excited to be a part of the growth with the company and a part of my own growth. What do they say? They say growing, like when you're with a company like this, it's like if you have a compensation plan attached to personal growth, right? And so that's where I am. I've grown really far personally, financially, and I'm excited to see, what the future brings.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and so to sort of set the stage, so can you sort of take us back to the beginning? What you're doing before you started this business we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I'm still doing it. So I've been bartending since I was 18 years old. I was always wanted to work at night, so that I could be home with my kids. So I started bartending at 18, and then I had my kids late in life, had my kids on like 30 and 35. But I always wanted to be the mom in the lunchroom, the mom on the field trips. I wanted to be the mom that put them on the bus and got them off the bus. So I always worked at night. And then as I got older, like being on my feet and having those hours was a lot. And then it takes a toll on you health-wise because you're in a restaurant environment, you're not always home for dinner with your kids, you eat what you can, right? You grab and go. And then one day I realized that I was very uncomfortable in my own skin. I was very uncomfortable in my own personal, um, the way I looked, right? Um, and so I wanted to do something about that. Also, I knew that I couldn't keep up this pace of bartending nights till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I had like this epiphany one day where I wanted to change my physical, you know, the way I look, but I also wanted a little different trajectory for the way my life was going. And so I was introduced to isogenics probably 11 years ago. I wanted to lose about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 pounds. And sometimes ego gets in the way because we think we can do it ourselves, right? Just let's cut out carbs, let's cut out sugar, let's work out more, let's take more walks. But ultimately, sometimes our bodies need more than we can actually just do for them. So
Mm.
I had to put my ego away, put my pride in my back pocket, and I had to ask for help. And I found it right here on social media. I actually typed on social media who sells isogenics because I was looking for it, I didn't know how to find it. And I was tagged through a networking member who was in another network, a group with someone who did isogenics. Let's say I love the power of networking, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we connected and I actually signed up to do a system. I put the system in my body. But in about 5 days, I felt like somebody had flipped on a light switch that I didn't even know was off. Sometimes we don't know how bad we feel until we feel good, right? Does that make sense? So we go through every single day, mundane. This is how life is supposed to be. I don't know if I can feel any better than this. And then one day you feel better than this, and you're like, oh. never going back. And I've got to share this. I've got to share this with my friends and my family. And so that's where it started. I put the products in my body. I had a great result. And then if you know anything about me, I can't keep my mouth shut if I find something I like, right?
Yeah.
Uh, not going to gatekeep on this. I'm just going to like put it out there. And that's what I did. I started sharing on social media. I started sharing with friends and family. And then the ball started rolling. And here we are 11 years later.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Eh, The the one thing that not that it was a takeaway, but I always thought that men were prideful or that men had a thing about pride. And it's interesting, women have pride too.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't wanna admit that we can't do things for ourselves, That's that's kinda crazy, but what's nice is that when the help is out there, right? We just have to be willing to do it, right? We have to be the ones that are willing to step into a different so we get to make a choice, right?
Mhm.
So, when you're not making a choice, you're still choosing,
Yeah,
right?
you're choosing not to.
You either choose to stay where you are or you choose to move on. I was in a place where I didn't wanna be in that on that hamster wheel anymore. I was ready. I was ready. So
Skirt.
it didn't matter what it tasted like. It didn't matter what it cost. It didn't matter what it didn't matter to me. I was easy. I was an easy sell. Like, yeah, sign me up. Here's my card. Um, but sometimes, people are a little hesitant and sometimes no doesn't always mean no. It just means not now or it means I don't know enough. Right. So that's some of the things that you run into when you're sharing, but
Yeah.
people come back.
Yep, yep. That's good. And then, um, like, what was that spark of the moment that made you leap into isogenics, and realizing? I know the story, but tell the viewers the story of when you jumped at at the first chance and you went all in. What was that like?
Yeah, it was not the day I started, that's for sure. Because the woman who signed me up, she was like, "Hey, I wanna show you how you can get 2 friends started and get your money back," and I was like, "Put the brakes on, stop, no, hard no, Fuck no, I'm good." Like, I literally, like, I was teaching yoga, I was selling jewelry, I was bartending, I had 2 kids, like, I don't want another hat. I just wanna fit in my clothes, you know what I'm saying? But the day that I was mentioning a bit ago was that 5th day when I felt like the world had just changed for me. And in that moment, I was like, okay, I can't keep this a secret, but I didn't know how, Johnny. I didn't know how to share it. I verbally vomited all over every single person. I like, my Facebook was a hot mess express. Like, I looked like a billboard for like, I don't know what. It wasn't until I learned how to do my personal branding and how to like really, talk to people. And the thing is, my burning desire is to help women. My burning desire is to get women past that place where they don't think that they are worthy. Because we get on that vicious hamster wheel and we think that we're not worthy, or we think that our kids need this, or our spouses need that, or everybody else needs us, which is true, but you can't pour from an empty cup. So my spark really ignited when I realized that I can help women fill their cup, whether it was physically, whether it was financially, whether it was emotionally, whether it was whatever it was. Because and you know this story because I've said this out loud before. I come from a pretty volatile background. Like I didn't wake up all wine and roses, right? I came down a pretty difficult pike, and I could have stayed there, right? But I made the decision not to because my kids were watching, and I just really needed them to see that there's power in proximity. So
Mm.
the more you hang around with certain groups of people, that's where you're going to end up, right? So I knew my spark was that I knew I needed to be around um people that were going to lift me up
Yeah.
and people that were gonna understand me and people that were going to, support me. And then I became one of those people because I wanted to be the woman that supported other women and that helped women rise out of some situations that they might not think were possible. So, when I started to share Isagenix and I had people texting me and say, how they felt and how their clothes were looser and how they felt more attractive to their husband or they felt more empowered to take their kids on the playground or grandmothers were on the floor playing with their grandchildren. But then I had women texting me and saying, I have more months than money. where I used to have more I had more money than month, where I used to have more month than money, right? And they felt like they could contribute back to their household, or they could get their kids that extra pair of shoes that they had to say no to, right?
Yeah.
My spark, if we're being honest, was the day that my daughter, asked me for a prom gown,
Mm.
and I couldn't afford it. And I said, "I'm sorry, um, this is your junior prom, maybe you could borrow something from somebody, but we're not in a place where I can go out and spend this kind of money." And my mother, Lorraine, she ran right to the rescue and she bought Miss Jessica a prom gown. But in that moment, I said to her, "But I promise you by next year at this time, I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna put my foot on the on I'm not my foot on the brake. I'm going on the gas." I said, "And next year for your senior prom, you can have whatever dress you want." And, Tyler was playing AAU baseball, and that's expensive. And as a parent, you don't wanna say, "No, you can't play travel ball because we can't afford it," right? So I saw the opportunity of Isogenics to give my kids what I always had to say no to, because it was extra, right? And then when I started the ball rolling and I started to see that, yes, we could afford that prom gown, and yes, we could afford a graduation, party for Jessica. All of the things that were bringing me stress as a mom, because there were only so many yoga classes I could teach. There were only bartending shifts I could bartend. You know what I mean? There was a cap on that money. And when I found Isogenics, I found that there was a glass ceiling, that I could do the work myself, but then I could teach others in duplication and grow my teams. And then I could help other women, other parents, other families. And now there's children in my organization that were my kids' friends. Like if I they're older, 23 and 29. So now they're in my organization. We have this millennial crowd that is just killing it. And then we have my mom, who was the first one to say yes to me, and she's healthy aging. She's killing it. So there's nobody we can't help. Absolutely nobody. And that's what really sparked my flame, is to know that my work here can be willed to my children, but my work now that I work really hard to do is going to set the pavement for my future when I want to slow down a little bit. Because the way our compensation plan works is it's residual. It's money we're making while we're sleeping once you build that foundation. And when I learned that, and I learned that I could do that for myself and to leave it to my children, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's sort of the plan, like, even for myself within business, I'm always looking for, uh different avenues and different ways where I can grow my business where I'm making money while I'm sleeping. Because
Mhm.
you're selling products, like even podcasting and creating videos, you're making money while you're sleeping because of ad revenues. And when you have links to products and they buy the products, you're literally, going out on a date and, you see, money coming in your bank and
Yeah.
you feel you're winning.
Yeah. You wake up and you see your cycles are growing. So, like, with me, we get paid on a couple of different levels. So we get a percentage, of course, when we first bring somebody in, we get a percentage of that. It's like you shop in my wellness store, and then I get a percentage from that. But then when you shop in my wellness store and you start to have results and your friends are noticing your results, or you're feeling like you want to share it, then I can teach them how to do the same thing. But then that's the second level for my business. Yeah. But because we share volume, so I'm not sure if my listeners or your listeners or my listeners or you are even in like aware of how network marketing or direct sales works.
I know.
There's a lot of companies out there that slush their volume. There's a lot of companies out there that have levels. Like once you reach a certain level, you don't get commission off of anybody else. So like let's just say you're in a company and you're 7 levels deep, and then you bring in this rock star, but that company doesn't allow you to earn anything under that. You're missing the boat.
Yeah.
With Isogenics, our volume never flushes, so we're always accumulating. I say it's like hitting the lever of a slot machine. We're always accumulating volume, but we're all the way deep down into our teams. So I'm creating leverage and I'm creating income from people I've probably never met. The money that you make while you're sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just super rewarding because I have a theory in my team is I dig down deep. So somebody may come into my business and they may leave, but they may bring somebody in that doesn't want to leave. and now they feel like they need somebody to help them. So that's what I do is I dig down and find out who's where, and then I help who I can.
Yeah.
Um, because not everybody stays, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And now, sort of stepping back a little bit, as far as the planning of all this coming together, did you sort of figure it out along the way, or were you just, I know exactly what I want to do with this, so I'm going
I'm still figuring
to. Aren't we all though? I mean, it's not
100%.
unless there are people that go to business school. I know personally, people that went to business school are still figuring it out because book smarts are different than actual uh, being in the business, being in the position that you went to school for is totally different.
Well, you know, you funny you say that because my daughter has a master's in education. She's a special needs school teacher,
Right.
and she knew what she wanted to do. She knew she wanted to work with special need kids from the minute she got her associate's degree. Like that was her goal. My son is graduating on May 7th with his master's in business. But he's you've met him. Uh does he know what he's gonna do when he graduates? Probably not, but the good news is he's got an entrepreneurial mindset, so
Good.
he's already got those wheels rolling, but for me, I didn't go to college. I tell everybody I went to the school of hard knocks, like, I
Mhm.
literally did not go to college. I got out of high school and started working, and here we are, I'm 60 years old. I thought about going back and getting an associate's degree, but the answer to your question is, when I started Isogenics, I was ignorance on fire. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Literally didn't know how to copy and paste anything. I didn't know how to send a link. Like you saw how hard it was for me to get on here today. Like I am like super computer illiterate,
Mm.
but I got good at my branding. I good at my social media because, like I said before, I was awful. The good news is though, Isogenics has things laid out for you. They have maps and they have like the roadmaps to follow. So as long as you follow the roadmap to success with them, you're going to be fine. But for me, I didn't know what I was doing. I took things personally. If somebody said no to me, well, maybe that it, right? Maybe it was what I was wearing. Maybe I didn't give them enough information. Um, if they ghosted me,
Mhm.
I'd be like, oh my God, but what I learned to realize now, my resilience is a little bit higher, my tolerance is a little bit higher. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's literally not about me, right? Because
Yeah.
if somebody wants to do something, you can say all the wrong things to the right people and they're going to do it. So, if someone's ready, they're ready. I always say this, some will, some won't, someone's waiting. So I only give a little bit of time to somebody who's on the fence a little bit. I give them the information, I give them the love and everything, but if they're not ready, I don't push anybody. I say, "Can I have permission to check back with you in, maybe 6 weeks?" Or,
Mhm.
"Have I not given you enough information? Is there somebody else I need to talk to? Is there some more questions that you have?" When somebody's ready, I'll know that they're ready. You know what I'm saying? But I am not pushy, and I don't feel like I've ever embarrassed anybody into trying to do anything or things like that. So to answer your question, I just follow I stay on my own path. I stay on my own path. I have my list of people. I have my, people who are ready to get started, who have gotten started, people who want to build. So I kind of know my market a little bit. And then there's always more people to meet. How many people in the world? When people tell me they can't do this because they don't know anybody, I'm like, wait a minute. It's so crazy. So, yeah, I'm still figuring it out. Still doing the do every day. And then I wake up every day excited to learn something, right?
Yeah.
We can't go to bed at night until we've learned something new.
Yeah.
That's how I,
And one of the things that you said that I want to touch on was, the more you make, well, one thing that I know, the more you make it about them, the more you care about your client, the more they see that, the more they want to do business with you. How do you try to incorporate that into your business?
I listen.
Yeah.
And listen. I ask and I wait for the answer because people buy things from people they know, like, and trust. So I can get you to know, like, and trust me. That's easy. I want to know your pain point. I want to know how I can help you because everybody's different. Some people want more energy. Some people want a weight loss. Some people want something to work out, help them work out in the gym. Some people want something for menopause. Some people want something for, vitamin, whatever it is. To answer your question, I've bring it back to that person, right? So if I said to you, Johnny, tell me a little bit about you. Like, why would you think you'd want to do isogenics? What's going on with you? And you'd say to me, well, I don't really have a lot of energy. And but I dig deeper as to why. How are you sleeping? What are your habits? What are you eating? You know, are you getting enough light? Are you getting enough water? Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know what's going on in your daily habits. Are you up until midnight editing? Are you up at 6 a.m. in the morning with a child? Like, what's going on, right? And then I listen, and then I dissect that, and I say, okay, my wellness store can help anybody pretty much with anything, right? Inside, outside, wherever. But I can't help you until I know what you need,
Mhm.
and I won't know what you need until we have a pretty in depth conversation. Because I really want to know what's going on with you because I want to help you. I'm not just here to sell you a product. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, want to help people live the life that they desire and feel like they're supposed to.
Mhm.
If that makes sense, because sometimes we don't know. This it says right here. This is my whole thing right here. Create the life you can't wait to wake up to.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine like waking up every day and being like, oh, I hate my job. I wanna bring positivity. I wanna pump positivity into people, as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing that needs to be, I think, hammered into maybe even in business school. Um, I just to sort of touch on what you said and like to connect with me, I actually didn't go to school for business. I didn't go to school even for photography. A lot of
Really?
what I learned was by doing. Um, I've had my time of, I've been homeless for a time and now I own a home. So I guess things worked out,
100%.
for me, and it's recognizing, like you were saying, what my clients need. Listening is huge, and then I think that's point number one: listen, because some people hear their clients but they don't listen. That's something I sort of heard from my wife. So you hear me but you don't listen, but
Plus, some people think I'm deaf. Like my mom and my boyfriend, if whoever's watching this will be like, she says she listens, she's deaf. Like she can't hear us. We can call her name right behind us and ask her questions, she doesn't hear us. But like when I'm like face to face with somebody or when I'm really talking to somebody in like a console, I'm listening. Like my outer like ears might not hear all the time, but I'm really listening to people's
yeah,
pain problems and making it not about me.
yeah.
'Cause it's not like you just said, like, you came from a place in time where you probably didn't know there was hope, and you probably didn't see because you can't. Because I don't know about you, but my crystal ball is in the shop, right? Like, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the future is gonna bring. Um, I had no idea I was gonna do this. I literally had no idea I was gonna do this. I fell into this,
Mhm.
and then I was asked to train on stage in front of 5,000 people, and I was like, "Ooh, me? Little old me from New London? Like, what? Okay." And I stepped onto that stage, and let me tell you, I didn't wanna get down because I loved it up there.
Now you're ready for 10,000. Let's go.
Bring it. Yeah, bring it.
Cool.
But 10 years ago, no way, Jose. I didn't even wanna get on a three-way call with somebody. My mentors would bring me on a three-way call, and they'd say, "Okay, well, if you have a prospect, you get them on the phone with me, and you just sit and listen, and we'll do all the talking." And so, you know what I would do? I would put the phone down, and I'd go do dishes, or I'd go do laundry, or I'd take my dog out, and I'd come back, and I'd be like, "Okay, they're still talking good," right? But I missed the boat because I missed all the nuggets and I missed like all the training that was like free training from these 6 and 7 figure earners and isogetics who were taking their time out of their day
Yeah.
to talk to my prospects. Because that's why I fell in love with isogenics because there's no big corporate mogul, oh my God, like bigger than everybody else. Like
Yeah.
we're all the same. We all get up in the morning, we do what we do and you know what I'm saying? Like we're all humans. And I felt like when I found my tribe with isogenics, everybody looked different, but everybody was there. It was the biggest cheerleaders I've ever met in my life. No competition. Nobody was out to cutthroat. Everybody was out. We're like sidelines, cross lines, teams. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're all sharing. We're all sharing our information with each other and helping each other's teams get bigger and helping. each other grow into the people that we aspire to be, and there's nobody, like, pulling you down, and there's no hair pulling and cat clawing, and one of the things, Johnny, I just wanna go off the rails a little bit, so
Let's go.
the first thing is give it to God,
Hmm.
right? Godspeed, like, he's driving the boat. We've gotta not get in the way. If he wants us to talk to somebody, if he wants us to show somebody something, it's his ideas, right? They're planted in your mind. Sometimes some people say, "Oh, I just had this great idea." No, you didn't. It was sent down, okay? Accept it, let it land. Um, and I just had to let go because one of the things I heard the other day, and this was so interesting to me. If you are in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, if you feel like you can't walk up to people that are talking in a group, or if you feel like you can't make yourself part of something,
Hmm.
it's because he hears the conversations that are going on over there that you can't hear.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So those people might not be your people. So making it uncomfortable for you to feel like you're a part of that because that's not where you belong anymore, right? So I had to step out of a circle that I was in that wasn't bringing me any more greatness. It was drowning me. I was in a relationship that was drowning me. It was awful. But I thought that's where I belonged.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I just put my hands up and said, "Okay, what's your plan for me?"
Yeah.
And here we are now. I'm in a position of empowerment of my own life. Empowering other women. Moving into all these different projects that he's put in my mind for me. Um, if somebody's watching this and you don't believe that you're being taken to a place that's better for you, you'll only be able to get there if you don't put the brakes on. Like just follow your heart, follow your gut. And sometimes our gut, our intuitions are way more vibrational and our mind gets in the way, right? So you've got to change your mindset. Sorry, I just had to go off the rails.
Well, that's good. It's just thick. Um,
He's like, I was following like this thing and now I feel bad for you. You've been like so patient. I couldn't get on and now you help like you've been wonderful.
Thank you. No, I've had the reason why I started this podcast is because I'm already having a lot of these conversations, and I'm just recording them. As you know, with the networking group that we're a part of, and then other friends groups and other connections that we have. If you find someone that they're in business, off to the races. You're talking to them. Okay, how are you connecting with this? Do they need this type of product? Oh, I think you should connect. With my networking group, and then all these other things of their story of where they came from and how you could help, and then vice versa. And then for me, I am a man of prayer, a man of understanding of God and how He works in a lot of different ways. Um, some because I was in stuff,
It,
in the dirt, and then you have no place to go up, a butt to go up.
yeah, it's
And
the
so
climb, man. It's the
y
climb.
yeah, and so I've gone through those moments where, hands up, in a $300 bedroom I couldn't afford, renting a $300 bedroom I couldn't afford, and, hand her up, and asking, and here I am today. Things aren't 100% perfect, but, a lot of what I perceive as success came because I listened and I
Yeah,
obeyed and I moved forward, and it's all for our good, you know.
yeah,
And so, sort of moving forward, talking about challenges, what are some of the challenges that you face, early on in your business that sort of gave you an aha moment? May have been a bit of a um, uh, theoretical kind of slap in the butt, but it was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my challenges were right here because I had to commit to tell myself that I was enough. I had to tell myself that I was worthy because I came from a place where I wasn't. And when I started to make it not about me and realize that, okay, you've been put into this position for all the right reasons, I was challenged with my first. The way Isogenics works is we have it's called the Crystal Executive Map, and so all it is 10 people that you help them find two people. I always think it's like that shampoo commercial. Remember, you find two and they find two. It's the same idea. And that's really where we want to hit the ground running when we start our business because that elevates you to success and then that lays your ground to be successful and you're bringing all these people in. And but it comes with a deadline, right? So you have a certain deadline to get to the first part of it and then it's about a 6-month stretch. And I was at the very end of the 6-month stretch and I was not as close as I would have liked to be to completion.
Yeah.
And I was still married. I was still sitting at my desk with my computer, and I had a couple phone calls to make. I had a couple orders to put in. I had a few people that I still had to talk to, and I probably had about 6 hours to finish. And the power went out. Like literally the power went out. I had no computer, no phone, no nothing. And so I was just like, "Okay, that's it." So I'm not gonna do it. What am I gonna I literally went out in the backyard. I don't know about you, but when I'm stressed out, I have to get close to the earth. I like pull weeds or I plant something. I'm like, my hands get dirty. There's something about your hands in the dirt that
Grounding.
yeah. So my son comes outside and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in the garden? What are you doing?" Because we made it as a family like a goal. Like, okay, if I hit this goal, what do you want? Because it took a lot of time out of my family, so I had to incorporate them, but I also had to give them something. So Tyler said, "I want a basketball net." I want those one of those ones that you can roll down the street and put the dirt on it, and all my friends can play the basketball. Okay, well, if I hit this goal, I'll get you that basketball net. So I'm in the backyard, and he knows that I have like 5 hours left, and I'm gardening, and he's like, "Mom, what are you doing? Don't you have a goal to hit?" I go, "Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. The power just went out." And he goes, "Ma, you've always taught me we don't quit." He's like, I don't I need you to get back to work." And I'm like, "I know you want that basketball net, right?" So he goes, "No, ma, come on, get back in there." So I went in, I'm not kidding you. I scooped up all my papers, I scooped up my computer, I got in the car, I drove to my mother's house 'cause she had power. And she was at her desk. I'm like, "Move over. I got to, anyway." So I got it done. Um, because my kids were watching. Like I couldn't fail in front of my kids, right? And I tell that story because I would have probably not finished. I probably wouldn't have pushed through that last 5 hours. I probably would have just said, "I can't do this. I don't have any power." But it was my son's admiration for me and it was his like kicking me in the ass saying like, "This is what you've taught us. Like you can't go back now." And the fact that I really wanted to be able to say to my team, "Hey, if I did it, you can do it." Right? Because I wouldn't have been able to tell my team, "Oh, well, yeah, well, I got really close, but then I quit." Right? So that was probably the hardest. That was a moment for me that was probably the most challenging because I had to get back in here
Yeah.
and say, "You've got to do this." Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So yeah, and it was rewarding. It was rewarding. The next morning you wake up and you see the goals that you've hit and you see the next level that you've come to. And my son came down the stairs and he picked, "Did you do it?" He did. And give me a big hug. So yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge for me. And the other challenge was getting unfriended on Facebook and having people, yeah, getting unfriended. Like go to tag somebody and I'm like, "Hey, I just tried to tag." Yeah, well, mm, don't want to be on your Facebook anymore. It's really awful. But I was like, "Okay, how can I fix this?" Uh, because in the beginning, you're so excited, right? Yeah. Then you learn. Again, you just learn. You learn as you go.
Mhm.
You really do. You take the hits and keep going.
And then was there a moment where you wanted to quit? Or like you were saying about the power getting out and then going out rather, and then getting unfriended. Did any of those moments get you to the edge? And what
Yeah.
sort of happened there?
Yeah, we all have wall-kicking moments, right?
Mhm.
I think the biggest for me, and not that I wanted to quit, but, like, the biggest kinda kick in the teeth for me was I did have somebody that was on my team that was in momentum, that was building, that was, like, my partner. Um, we worked in the same gym together, and she pulled the plug on her business. She decided not to do it anymore. And it was kind of a moment where things caved in a little bit. Um, and I thought, "Wow, God," but again, I didn't take it personal because it's not about me. What I did do is just sit back and analyze how I can replace that,
Yeah.
and what can I do to make it a little more bulletproof next time, right? So, I'm working with, a couple different gyms right now, partnering with them with, like, their, challenges and stuff to incorporate isogenics into their, like, meal plans and stuff like that, and then I've got a big project, that I'm working on right now that we're gonna be launching pretty soon, so watch my social media because 'cause it'll be big. It's about, menopause. It's about women in this age. I'll be 60 in November, and I thought I missed it. I literally didn't never had any symptoms at all until just recently, and they came uninvited, and they came bringing friends, and I'm like, "What the actual."
Are they ever really invited ever? I don't think they're invited.
No, uninvited, 100%. But moving into my graceful aging, I guess you could call it, I'm learning that there's a lot of women that are experiencing this. And it's one of those things that you don't really want to talk about. Who really wants to talk about that spare tire? Who really wants to talk about those sweats, right? Or not sleeping through the night or all of the other feminine issues that come with it, right? Because nobody wants to talk about that over coffee, you know? But it's got to be talked to and it's got to be addressed and we've got to find a situation where we can help women like make it more it's normal, it's natural, it happens,
Yeah.
but bring it to the table and maybe spill the tea about it a little bit, or maybe have a bitch session about it a little bit, or you know what I'm saying? Or maybe like how can I help you navigate around this? So we're gonna be doing a program where we're gonna be connecting physically, we're gonna be teaching some boxing, some yoga, some regular just workouts that people that women a tangible workout that women can take home with them. Because not everybody wants to hit the weights and not everybody wants to work out. But if you're starting to complain about, your loss of muscle tone, like how can we help you?
Mm.
And then we're going to talk about like meal plans and supplements and things like that that will help with women. So we're working on a program or products and incorporated together to do that for women. And we're hoping to have like a big movement of women that are just like, okay, we're sick of this shit. We have the control to take over our own bodies again and step back into control. Because sometimes we think we don't have control. Sometimes we're just like, this is supposed to be like this, right? But really, everything has an option to change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that sort of got me into business, before I actually started my first photography job. I was, contracting for Comcast at the time. So I used to install cable. I used to work for AT&T, Cablevision, all of that, Staples, sales associate. I used to bake bread years ago. And yeah, so I enjoy bread, maybe a little bit too much.
We all enjoy bread, let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cookies, I love cookies. But it was that choice. Recognizing and what really set the stage for that was when I was contracting for Comcast, and that sort of set, the expectation of, or changed the expectation of it wasn't a 9 to 5. I could make as much money as I wanted to at that job. I only switched because, I really didn't enjoy it that much. It didn't really feed me,
Yeah.
spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. People, other people probably love it. There are people that they're making like 3 grand a week. Well, it probably wasn't legal, because you could do a lot of illegal stuff, contracting, doing installations like that. But I just wanted out and I decided to go into photography and I really enjoyed it ever since. And it was only up until I made that choice to do something better for myself. Something
Yeah, it's a
that's
choice.
Yeah, something that's gonna really, be of a betterment for me, for my family moving forward, and that really connected to my spirit and fed me, intellectually and all that stuff, and, there were mentors along the way that sort of helped me, and even now, I'm surrounding myself around, different mentors, talking about, different situations I'm going through, different changes, and guys go through changes too. Everyone that's listening as well. It's not called menopause.
Well, it's not, but everything that happens to us starts with that word, right? Menopause, menstrual cycle, mental health. Like, come on, take some accountability. But
Yeah, yeah.
I get that though. And men need absolutely men need to be heard
Mhm.
just as much as we do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's sort of where I think the what was it? when you turn 40. I just turned 41 this past December, and it was something about that 40 that I felt myself like on a mountaintop tipping over and
Go that
feeling
way.
yeah, feeling and, like, tumbling the whole way down, and I think I'm starting to catch myself, I'm like, "Okay," and then I'm seeing other mountaintops, I'm like, "Okay, I could do this," because you start it's a mental thing, some people, they feel like, "Oh, I what did I do with 40 years of my life? What am I gonna do next?" And so I started thinking of that, and, this podcast is part of that, and then different ventures, writing books and different movies I'm thinking of creating, are really my next step for greater things for me, not just for me, but for the to be a blessing, to be a help to so many others out there. And then, so say for you, did you have any mentors or a community that really helped you sort of keep running towards what you
Yep,
wanted to?
100%. So going back to like when you said when you find something you love, it doesn't feel like a job, right? So you had a job with Comcast that you didn't love, um, and it wasn't filling your cup, right? And so you had to make a decision, you had to make a choice, and you were probably scared to death, but everything on the other side of fear, right? So we have to figure out how to cross that line. And my mentors were absolutely essential in me figuring that out. The woman who signed me up, Samantha, she is to this day my ride or die. She's my go-to when I feel like I can't do something. She's my hype girl, man. She keeps me hyped, And then when I first joined Isogenics, like she's like, "Oh, I want to introduce you to the 77th millionaire, Rhonda Collier." And I said, "Why would a 77th millionaire of a multi-million dollar company want to meet me? All I want to do is lose 10 pounds." But what I didn't realize in that moment, what she was doing was building a culture, community for me of people that would mentor me
Mhm.
because this was all new for me. And then we have Carlita, she's in Maui, and we have a big team of women, men, Jeff and Debbie, there are a couple over in California. Like they're not linked to me, but I could call them and ask for any sort of help, any sort of, positive vibes. I could ask if I could bring my team onto their Zooms, like, our culture in Isogenics is like nothing I've ever experienced before, and our mentors, are just a huge umbrella of different people from different places.
Awesome.
But you do need that accountability of somebody because there are days that you don't want to do this. There are days that you don't want to make those phone calls. There are days that you just don't even want to talk about it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and you have those wall kicking moments where so and so didn't return my call, or so and so returned their product, or so and so didn't get on the Zoom that I thought they were going to get on, and you need the people that have been there and been through the trenches that have also done all the work to say, "This is normal. This happens. We can't give up now. We didn't come this far to just come this far. Like, keep going." And you need those hype people.
Yeah.
And I want to be hype people for my team too, and I hope that I am because I get those phone calls sometimes too, like, "Hey, so and so said no, I'm not going to make any more phone calls." I'm like, "How many people did you call today?" "My mom." Like, come on. So, I wanna be the mentor to somebody who thinks that they should quit just because the first person said no, right? Or it has them adversity and they just don't know how to handle it. So, um, how they say, like, it rolls downhill. So, you take what you learn and you just keep giving it back, and just grows. It just manifests and grows, and I find personally that the mentors that I've had since day 1, I'm talking 11 years ago,
Mhm.
I could call them right now and be like, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," and they would be right there to answer the phone or answer a text or fly me out to sell. I mean, I'm very grateful for the people that I've, um, been able to grow this business with. 100 so grateful. It doesn't always happen, really, and I'm grateful for our chapter, I'm grateful for our networking group, I'm grateful that, I got to meet you through that, and, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing, like, because people only see the glory, they don't know the story, right? So they don't know what we've endured to get here. There's been times where I couldn't pay my rent. There's been times where I think that I had to tell my kids no. There's been times that we've eaten the same meal for 3 nights in a row. It always hasn't been where we are now. And I watched this one guy, he's a young kid, he's got this channel that he interviews 6 and 7 figure earners, and he asks them, how much the money they've made in a week or where they came from. And the one question he always asks is, "Have you ever been broke?" And they always say yes. They're like, "Yeah." Like, my mom was this, or my dad was that, or as kids didn't have this, or I was homeless, or I lived in my car. But the one thing that they all have in common was that they found a mentor. They found somebody that believed in them. They found somebody that they could um kind of go look up to and follow. So I do believe that mentorship is infinitely, undescribably, definitely necessary.
Yeah. Now, at two handfuls, I think, of mentors, especially in this season, just a lot of change, a lot of growth, a lot of unexpected, you know, just different stuff, and it's necessary. So if
Do you
any,
think too sometimes, Johnny, do you think your mentors have to so your personal mentor, but then you have people that you follow, like your favorite authors, your favorite podcasters,
yeah,
so those are the kinds of things too that you may not interact with them, but they bring value to you for what they lay down,
yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, and those are the people that you sort of follow from a distance, hoping, one day you'll meet, but then once you meet them, it's sort of like, I already know everything about you 'cause I've been following you, so handshake, goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be great if you, spend the evening with them and then get more information.
Yeah, we've done a couple of, like, really empowering things, like, I've done the Tony Robbins, the 3-day immersion where you end up, walking on the flames, and Jim Rohn and all of those, like, people that, you aspire to be like when you're in network marketing and direct sales. Eric Worre, I've done quite a few trainings, and I've been to Vegas to his studio, and so just and I've been to his house, like,
Hmm.
when you can and proximity is power, right? So you surround yourself with what you wanna be. If you surround yourself with people that are really negative, you're gonna end up negative. If you surround yourself with positivity, then you're gonna be positive. So, yes, back to your question, I think it's ultimately one of the most necessary things that
Yeah.
you can do.
Yeah, and then to your point, if you took was the phrase, if you show me your friends, I'll show you who you are or show you your future.
Yep,
That is totally true. Totally true. And I think that's sort of been sort of really jettisoning me up. I don't want to say a ladder, but getting me out of my comfort zone
yep,
so that I could not just meet where my friends are successful are at, but surpass them in a way,
yep,
but with my particular genius.
yep.
Not trying to compete, but trying to be the best version of myself. You know,
I always want my teammates to out earn me. I always want my teammates to do better than me. I'm a hype girl. I want everybody to succeed, you know? I don't ever like to compete.
Mm,
I'm very competitive. I like to win, right? But I don't want to compete with somebody who's trying to better themselves. Does that make sense?
yeah,
I want to bring them along for the ride, and I want to show them what their value is.
yeah,
What their what is your worth? Like, and sometimes people get so jammed up in um competition,
yeah.
and also in when they're like competing, like when you're looking at somebody and you think that they have it better than you, or they have more than you, or I can't do that because I'm not like them. Great, I'm glad you're not like them, because everybody's got an individual personality, everybody's got an individual thing that makes them themselves. I don't want to be like anybody else, I don't want anybody to be like me. Be you, like, do you, like, find yourself and then magnify it. No competition, like when I teach yoga, I tell people, stay in your own lane, stay on your own mat. Don't look at the person to your left, don't look at the person to your right. Who cares if somebody's on one leg? Who cares if somebody's on their head? It doesn't matter, right? You're on your mat for a reason. Stay in your lane and don't compare yourself, because comparison is the thief of joy. We all know that, right? So yeah, no comparison, and stay in your own lane and keep your nose out of my business. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
drink water and keep your nose out of my business.
Water. Yeah. I got my 1 liter. I'm trying to finish what, like 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah,
So
I know. It's not as easy it might as it sounds, right? Drink your water. It's not as easy as it sounds.
So it's like I'm would like to I wanna say I'm trying to lose weight. I know my wife could listen to this maybe. But anyway, I am trying to lose weight, not just to, to be healthy and everything, but so I won't have to drink as much water because the more the more you weigh, the more you need to drink water.
Is exactly it. I think the calculation is half of your body weight in ounces, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too much.
So, the less you weigh, the less water you have to drink. That's a good goal.
Mm. So now, talking about the grind,
Yeah.
sustaining your business, how did you keep things going when, the hype of, the newness, when the packaging is off and you're already, elbow deep in doing the stuff? How did you keep things going?
So with our company, we have what's called the core four. So we have 4 events a year, and you've got to plug into those events because you're going to burn out, and you need to plug back into the energy of your mentors, the energy of your company, the energy of the products, and just the energy and the vibes and the little nuggets that you might be able to take off of somebody's training on stage or somebody's getting together while we're away. We do like hiking trips and we do like all the things that keep us kind of connected together. And that's what keeps me going in the grind. In fact, we're going to Colorado in August. And I'm so excited to see the people that I see on Zooms and the people that I see, yeah, but I get to plug them, I get to hug them, hike with them, do some hot springs probably in Colorado. When we were in Nashville, we did some waterfalls and things like that. But just staying plugged into the people who have the same vision as you do and understand your language because sometimes direct sales and sometimes network marketing, we have a little bit of a different language, but we all know what our love language is, and just staying connected to the people who get you and who spark you and encourage you and empower you is really important, I think. And just staying connected to people that are your cheerleaders because the naysayers are out there, and sometimes I do say, I need more naysayers because now I have more believers. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring me some more skeptics because now I have more. I love a skeptic. I'm not here to convince you or change your mind. I'm here to educate you. So
Mm.
bring me some skeptics.
And
Like,
what's your favorite way from turning someone into a skeptic into a buyer?
just getting to know their pain point and getting to know what I can do to help them feel better because reality is you can go on Amazon, you can go to GNC, you can go to Walmart, you can buy products anywhere,
Mm.
okay? But you need somebody to coach you. You need somebody to support you. You need somebody when something goes wrong, you're going to ask why is it going wrong? If you have a question about a product, you have a question about when to take it, how to take it, who can take it. You're not going to get that support from a box store. You're certainly not going to get it from an online store. So just for me creating relationships and being there, I have clients that say to me all the time, "I can't believe how fast you text me back. I can't believe you." Well, listen, I live on this thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad, but we do, right? But it's for my business because if somebody asks me a question on Monday and I don't get back to them on Wednesday till Wednesday or Thursday, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And somebody chooses me to be their beacon of light or they choose me to help them with their goals.
Mm.
I take that very serious. That's a commitment. I'm not just saying to you, "Hey, I can help you buy this," and then good luck when it comes. I get back as right. I follow their tracking. I know when their box comes. I call them. When are you going to get started? Because that's what happened to me 11 years ago. My box came. I kicked it under the table.
Mm.
Samantha called me and said, "How's it going?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I haven't started yet." And she's like, "Okay, well, I can tell you one thing. If you don't put the products in your body, they're not going to work."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Ah, time to read the label, blah, blah, blah." So our team created what's called a box opening call. So when your box comes, there's probably 20 things in it. And now you're like, "What do I do with this? When do I take?" And now a confused mind does nothing, right? Confused mind does nothing. So my goal is to get people to understand that it's not as hard as it looks, and I wanna walk them through, their first day, their second day, their third day, 'cause by day 5, this is just a automatic, gets going, but day 21, that's when your body starts to create that habit. then you got to get people through their first month
Yeah.
because it's a different way of life. It's a life-changing system.
Yeah.
Um, and if you don't follow through with your people, they're gonna fall off.
Mhm.
So, how do I get people? My goal is to get them to trust me, to be their beacon in this transition. And then once they have a good experience, to continue to purchase, or to continue to share it with their friends. But it's got to start with me,
Yeah.
or it's never going to get off the ground.
Yeah, and that's the I've heard this saying before. It's about there's a difference between someone that just works at a job or a business and an owner, because
Mhm.
an owner takes responsibility of their actions and their surroundings. There are times when I'm at a supermarket or I'm at church or at a random restroom, and I'll just clean up. I'll help to, it's because someone's gonna slip, because it just looks messy. I'll just do my part, whatever it is, just to because I'm an owner. I'm an owner. I'm not just a consumer. You
Yeah.
know.
I think for me, because I've been in the restaurant industry for so long, I think it has helped me in my own business because I know how to listen. I know how to
Yeah.
maneuver. Like I'm a constant. My OCD, whatever you want to call it, doesn't allow me to sit still. So the minute I clock in, I'm stocking, I'm filling, I'm wiping, I'm cleaning, I'm waiting on people, I'm filling their orders, I'm making sure everybody's happy. Then at the end of the night, I do my side work, I clean up again. So like when you put that into your own business, like it's the same thing with direct sales. Like I've got to set it up. I've got to have follow up. I've got to make sure everybody's okay. I've got to make sure everybody's happy. I've got to have the cleanup. I've got to have the end. You know what I mean? How do you bring this to full circle? So I think, and also my yoga background of just being really in tune with my own body and being in tune with people's bodies, that all has come full circle for me to be an owner of my own business.
Yeah. And then talk a little bit about, any mindsets or things that sort of help you to push through the tough times when the numbers weren't looking good, or, having really difficult clients. I don't know if you ever had any, but what sort of kind of things help you to get through those times?
Yeah. So for me, it's schedule.
Mm.
And the one thing that Rhonda said to me 11 years ago is if you don't have a schedule, you don't have a business.
Who's Rhonda?
Rhonda Collier, she's the millionaire through Isogenics. She's my upline. The one I told you that Samantha wanted to introduce me to, I couldn't understand why she would want to meet me.
Mm.
And now she's one of my best friends. I've been to her house. Anyways, she's a wonderful, wonderful human.
Okay.
And her whole vibe is mindset and speaking into existence what you want. In other words, speaking in the tense of in other words, oh my God, Johnny, you don't even know, man. I'm like making six figures in Isogenics. I think my limo's going to be here in a minute. And, I think my jet is going to take us to, whatever. I don't have a limo. I don't have a jet, but in my mind, I've already created this vision
Yeah.
and I speak it into existence. I speak it into the fact that it's already happened. So when you can set your mindset into that, when things start to go bad or when they start to landslide down or somebody leaves your team or somebody doesn't order or somebody, has a bad review or somebody says something negative about you, you have to rise above that
Yeah.
and know that it's just temporary.
Yeah.
Everything is temporary, right? And if you shut it down, for me, I think bigger about if I shut this down now, what does this mean to my family?
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean to the future? What does this mean if I shut this down now? Because let me tell you something. My kids were not always on board because when you work for yourself, you're in front of your computer. You're at home, right? I bought a sign. It was a closed sign, open sign, and I hung it on the back of my chair.
Mm-hmm.
Because your kids see you at home, right? They're like, "Oh, they can take me to the store. They'll make me a snack, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, I'm working." Like they didn't really understand it. But
Mhm.
if I was off at the restaurant or if I was off teaching a yoga class, I wasn't there. So,
Yeah.
but if they saw me at home, they're like, "Oh, mom's." And there were times where I had to say, "No, we can't go. I'm on the phone."
Mhm.
Or I have to take a phone call. And my kids would be like, "She's on the phone again. She's on the phone again." Well, yeah, I'm on the phone again because I'm building the basis of this business so that we can do the things you want to do. You have to work really hard in the beginning to have the things you want in the end, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not willing to make that sacrifice in the beginning, you're not going to get that glory, right?
Mm.
So I had to teach that to my kids. So now when things are starting to go bad, I have to say, what is this going to look like if I let this be my end?
Mm.
This can't be, right? And this is my this is my future. This is my retirement plan.
Mhm.
I'm gonna I'm not gonna slow down, but like I'm gonna John's retiring pretty soon and I'm gonna retire pretty soon and we plan on traveling.
Mhm.
So I can do isogenics from a motorhome. I can do isogenics from a hotel room. I can do isogenics from wherever, right? I At some point I'm not gonna bartend as much and I may, slow down teaching classes, but I always am going to have this. So that's what I have to remember when the hard times come and the slow times come, because they do,
Mhm.
because they do. Um, this isn't a temporary a band-aid. This is my life. This is my business. So just like a restaurant owner, if you have a couple weeks in the summer that are busier than others, or in the winter and it snows and it slows down, you don't close the doors,
Yep.
right? You make more specials, you make
Mm.
more promotions, you get back on your social media, you get a little bit louder, you raise your vibration a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've always got accustomed to. Typically around this time, yeah, around this time of the year, it starts picking up more. But during the winter time is when I try to create new products, try to reinvent myself. Not completely different, but but like add new ways of selling, add new ways of connecting with clients. Just seeing what's new because every year there's different trends. There's different
Yeah, reinvent
clients.
those.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's different ways you could, make money even, even right now, I'm, restarting, selling on Amazon, I forgot that I was an influencer on Amazon. And so with that, I could just create a video about a product I like, post it on Amazon, and then that alone, making
revenue
on
starts to roll in. Yeah,
yeah, making money, while you're sleeping, and,
yeah.
just autopilot, and
So
thoughts both yeah.
complacency is easy, right? We can get as complacent as we'd like. But then what do I pitched my new idea to my son, and I said, I want to pitch this to you because you're in business school and you're my son's a wrestler. He's been wrestling since he was 5 years old. He's all American. He graduated cum laude with his bachelor's. He's about to graduate with his master's, and he's in it. He's in the trenches right now.
Mhm.
And so I said, I want to pitch this idea to you. And so we went back and forth, and he gave me some ideas, and I gave him some thoughts, and I pitched it to my boyfriend. He's like, "Wow, I'm so proud of you. That's great. That's amazing. Like, just to keep moving forward because nobody is doing this thing that I'm creating right now. Nobody's doing it around here. And I'm really excited about it because it's a vision that I have to help other women.
Mm.
Um, but I could have just said, "Oh, it's slow. This is the product we have right now. Let's push this product. Let's talk about it at my networking."
Mhm.
Or can I develop something that's going to reignite some energy and like get some excitement around it? Like you said, you've got to keep you've just got to keep reinventing what's there, but like make it a little shinier, make it a little prettier, make it a little bigger, make it a little fluffier, make it whatever it is,
Yeah,
and bring some excitement around it.
yeah, awesome. And now, as it pertains to success, the successes that you've attained throughout the years, how has that definition of success changed since you started in isogenics and other ventures you're a part of?
Yeah, so my definition of success right now are my children. Um, my daughter is a special needs school teacher with a master's degree. My son is graduating master's degree. So when I look at their accomplishments, did I go to school for them? No. But did I push them to be the greatest version of themselves? I hope so. And I want them to look at me and be proud of me, And so my guideline, my map for success is just to have my kids look back and be like, "Wow, my mom was on the phone a lot and she went away a lot and she talked to a lot of people, but we have what we have now because she didn't quit. She didn't say no." I just want my success to be measured by the amount of people that I can help. The amount of people that can look back and say, "Hey, Lori, thank you so much for going first. Thank you so much for not giving up on me. Thank you so much for posting that post. Thank you so much." I get that a lot. I get that. "Hey, I'm so inspired by your post. Thank you for being out there." People say it all to me all the time. They're like, "Oh, every hour my phone goes off." Lori Miller notification. She's on Facebook again. I'm like, you're welcome.
Mhm.
At first, I got offended by that. Like, I was like, oh, am I posting too much or am I in your face too much? Yeah, I am
Mm.
because I want you to see because I think there's value in what I'm sharing.
Yeah.
If I share a good recipe, if I share like, whatever, there's value in what I'm sharing. But my success, I think, is just measured by the amount of people that I can say said no to me in the beginning and then came back and said, okay, let's give it a try. Or people who said yes and then fell off
Yeah.
and then came back. That's my success is when people come back to me because they've gone and tried other things, right? Because that's the definition of insanity, right? Is you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and you expect a result. Um,
We're
when
insane people.
is I love it. We should be, right? Well, it's that expression about not being normal. Like there's like those people that you don't want it. I don't want to be normal. I never want to be normal. I don't want anybody to tell me I'm normal.
Yeah.
But that's how I measure my success is just in the people that I can help. And honestly, like how I help myself because coming from where I came from 11 years ago to where I am now, I think I made great strides. I think I've really come really far. Do I have more work to do? Yeah. Do I have further to go? Yeah. But this is a good place to be right now. I'm happy where I am right now. That's how I measure my success by my happiness, my family's happiness, my relationship, and all the people that I'm helping and how happy they are.
So, talking about, real talk and pivots and any failures you've had in business, had there been any time in your business where you have to shut something down and walk away from what you're doing?
I mean, there are times when you get frustrated because you hear so many excuses. And my business partner Samantha and I, we laugh. We should write a book about how many people, the things that people have told us why they couldn't do the isogenics, or I am not going to say them out loud because I don't. If anybody's, I don't want to offend anybody. But we've heard all of the excuses, right? Because they're just excuses, really, and we know that. But sometimes I just have to take a breath and put it down and go to the gym or take a walk or pick it up tomorrow because I just don't wanna be like, I'm calling you on your BS. Because really, um, but I've never stopped, like, I've really never stopped
Mhm.
moving my business forward, um, but we'd be really not telling the truth if we said we kinda put it on the back burner sometimes, like, you get into a new relationship or you get into like a situation where your kids need you for something and you're just like, oh, I'll pick that back up in a couple days. Well, I mean, we've all done it, but I've never stopped sharing wherever I am because truthfully, if you have your antennas up and you know that you can help people, it's really hard to take them down.
Mhm.
Right. So if you hear anything, if you hear anybody say anything that you know that you have a solution for, it's really hard to take them down.
Mm.
And I have been asked, like, been invited to parties or been invited to places, and I've literally been asked, like, "Could you do me a favor? Could you just not talk about isogenics while we're there? Like, could you do me a favor and just not talk about your job? Like,
Yeah.
how about no? Like, but I don't feel like, and if anybody's watching this and they feel like maybe I'm wrong, I don't really feel like I anymore, I used to vomit on people, right? If I'm sitting at a table with somebody and they're complaining about something, I'm like, "Oh, really? I remember feeling that way too.
Mhm.
If I could show you a way that you could eliminate that, would you be open to it? Oh my God, what is it? All right, well, not now because we're at a wedding or not now because we're at a, whatever. But here's my card. Call me. That's how I do it because I don't want to be the center of attention of somebody's like, middle of somebody's wedding or whatever. If it's not my show, right? Right. But if I'm doing a tasting or if I'm doing a launch party or if I'm doing something, yes, we're gonna put everything out on the table.
Yeah.
But I actually had a woman, yeah, and I had a woman one time. It was Mother's Day. I was out for dinner with my kids, and it was during COVID, and like we had to wear masks, right?
Mhm.
And so we went into this place to get a bite to eat, and when you sat down, you could take the mask down. And so the woman carded my kids because my kids ordered, I don't know, beer or wine, whatever it was for dinner. And so they both took their IDs out. And I took my mask down and I said, "Oh, you don't want my ID?" Like joking, because nobody ever wants my ID. And she goes, "These can't be your kids." I'm like, "Well, yeah, they're my kids." And she's like, "You don't look old enough to have these kids. What's your?" And I was like, "Oh, you want to know my secret?" I'm like, here's my card. I go, "Right now I'm having dinner with my kids. But if you really want to know my secret, here's my Facebook and here's my card. I'm happy to talk to you later or in the morning. You know what I mean? And she called me. She reached out. She's like, hey, okay, I'm really interested in what's your secret. And so I ended up, bringing her onto my team. But I had to like set a little bit of a standard because I was out to dinner with my kids and I didn't want to disrespect the time I was having with them too. Right. So you learn how to find balance with them.
I've had the reason why I said bathroom before is because I've had people strike up conversations in the stall next to me. I'm like, dude, I'm literally, taking care of business.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking care of business another day. It's just so weird. People don't have decorum or even wisdom.
Now that I have your undivided attention,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah, I got a house I want to rent to you. So like that. So talking about the experiences that you've had about failure, what I guess what are the biggest lessons you've learned out of your failures in the past?
You can only fail if you quit.
Mm.
You're gonna fail forward. We're all gonna fail forward. I mean, it's part of life. You're gonna fail in sports, you're gonna fail in school, you're gonna fail. It's a lesson. So what do you do with that lesson? Do you let it degrade you? Do you let it belittle you? Do you let it take you out at the knees? Or do you learn from it?
Mhm.
Right? Um, I don't believe that people fail. I believe that they just didn't try hard enough or that they didn't put enough effort into it. Because if you fail a test, you probably didn't study, right?
Mm.
Um, really, if I came onto this podcast and I didn't look at the questions that you asked me or I didn't talk to you pre ahead of time and I failed you as a somebody that's on your podcast, it was probably because I didn't take it serious enough.
Mm.
So if you're failing, you have to ask yourself, are you taking this serious enough? What does this mean to you? How much does this mean to you? And so maybe you fail at something that you're not interested in. Like you talked about before, you had a job that you didn't love. Maybe you felt like a failure when you worked for Comcast. Maybe I felt like a failure when I was selling jewelry and nobody was buying at my parties. But was it that important to us?
Mm.
Right? Did we need to put our energy somewhere that we felt was more important? Because maybe we knew in that moment that we felt like we were failing at this, but actually it was failing forward. Like we needed to listen and we needed to catapult out of that onto this endeavor. Right. So you're never really failing. It's just you really have to dissect it to see if it's a lesson for you.
Yeah. And I
Lessons come in all different phases, shapes,
Yeah.
and sizes.
Yeah, and being a photographer, I like to coin the phrase about perspective. It's all about perspective because being like say real estate photography, for instance, um, there was one particular company I used to work for years ago where no matter the size of the property, I needed to shoot at least 30 or 40 angles of the house, inside, outside. There will be these houses, it's back in the day, it'll be literally like 800 square feet, and I needed to shoot 40 angles, 40
And there's
pictures.
this
Yeah, and it's like, "Okay, how am I gonna do this?" And you start figuring it out, like, so there's, 4 angles, and then the different, different ways to shoot it, down, up, left, right, all that stuff, and you figure it out. And so bringing that into business, when there's a problem or situation or a particular client that you're trying to tackle, they're not listening to one aspect of what not necessarily about just selling, but of them understanding your product or understanding, what how your product is gonna best serve them. There's always a different way that they'll be able to understand. Similar to love language, you mentioned before, and that's huge in, like, me being married. We talk about our love languages a lot because, for me, it's, words and I think touch are the 2. And and so I've recognized that when my wife doesn't say any particular words that are very pleasing to me, saying it very nicely, and then I don't connect to her very well, and then vice versa. Hers are, I should know this, but it's pertaining to, she likes to go out in adventures and I think also words, and so I like to take her out, and it's just being mindful of those things that it's bringing back to clients and perspective, being mindful of what's going to get them excited, what's going to get them really connected to the product that you're trying to sell and for them to say yes. And what I learned more is the more yeses you get out of your prospective client, the more likely they're gonna book you or purchase your product. Um, and
Have you
then
ever heard
yeah,
of embrace the no?
yeah, I've heard of it. You want to
Yeah.
expand?
Yeah. So embrace the no means bring on your no's.
Mm,
I look for no's. If I get 10 no's and one yes, that's a win for me. And those no's, like I said, they don't mean no, they just mean not now. They don't know enough. But I felt like what you just said is the love language um of me being in a new relationship and understanding and the perspective of that didn't mean no. That just meant that you didn't know enough, right? And as a bartender, I've always, when I worked for corporate, I was always told the perspective of your customer is so important because you're seeing your tunnel vision, right?
mhm,
But the perspective of the customer is the bar clean around you. Did you greet them? Did you give them a menu? Are you talking to somebody over there longer than you're talking to them? Are you making them not feel like a regular? Are you making this person feel more important than them? Right? And so I brought that into my business.
yeah.
So one of the things, Johnny, that we use is three-way communication, either a three-way text message, a three-way phone call, or a three-way messenger, because it's always that third person validation that helps move a person forward.
Mm,
So what I try to do in my business is, am I an overweight man? No. Am I a teenager that's going through acne? No. Am I, so many things? The answer is no. But chances are I know somebody on my team that is. So I can blend those three people, myself included, and then I can just shut my mouth and let those two people talk and have that moment in time where they can say, "Oh, you really get me. You're going through what I'm going through. How did you overcome this?" And they say, "These are the products I use. This is the whatever I did. Are you willing and open to learning more?" And then when that person says yes, then I can come in and say, "Okay, this is what I would suggest for your protocol." Right? But I can't always win the win. I have to bring people in to help me
mhm,
because it's not always my story, but I've been in this business and I have a big enough team and we've coached thousands and thousands of people throughout our team that I know somebody that's having the same struggle and I can put those people together. And then there's that generic organic connection that happens.
yeah,
And then we can help that person.
yeah. That's beautiful. And then sort of winding down here, looking back, what kind of advice would you give your past self, young Lori, your younger Lori?
Yeah. Ah, not take everything so personal.
Mm,
Really. If that's one piece of advice I could give anybody is not to take anything so personal and just remember who the you are
mm,
because people will try to knock you down, degrade you. I think the one thing I think I would probably tell my younger self is if somebody is unhappy with themselves or their reflection or what their life is like, they're going to try to pin that on somebody else because not everybody takes accountability, right? So if you're doing well, and you're happy all the time and you're somebody out there's not going to have that same perspective on their life and they're going to deflect it on you
mm,
and you just have to either reflect it back or not take it or not accept it because it's really not anything that you're doing wrong
mhm,
but it's easy to say, "Oh, that guy was so mean to me, what could I have possibly done to deserve that?" You don't know where he just came from. He might have just had a fight with his boss, his wife, he might have got cut off at the light and now he's angry
mhm,
and that person just doesn't know who else to put that anger towards, right? So you have to know the bigger picture and not take everything so personal. But I was a sponge for a very long time for taking things personal and wearing them and letting them weigh on me. And if there's one thing I could go back in time and do, it would be not to take so much on personally. Learn to deflect a little bit.
yeah. And then are there any kind of misconceptions that people may have about running or starting a business?
Well, you know what? People say it's hard. but we can do hard things.
Mhm.
And if we can do hard things and then we have success, then we can teach others to do hard things, right? So I feel like somebody has to go first and lead the way, right?
Right.
Because if nobody goes first, we're all just sitting back here waiting. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go first because I'm not sitting here anymore, you know? Um, but also sometimes people think it costs more than it really does to start a business, right? And I'm not talking about like a brick and mortar. I'm saying like to start an isogenics business, you literally have to open your account with products that you're going to eat. You're eating your overhead. So you're not starting your isogenics business with like cleaning products that are going to last you forever. You're starting with like something that's going to get in your body and make you feel better. It's usually about $150, $175 to open up your account. And then you can open up your you can flip your position from associate from customer to associate for $29. So you look at an isogenics business that has absolutely zero, glass ceiling, zero end in sight of how much you can actually make. Of course, you have to do the work, right? Um, it's like $200, but you're eating your overhead, right? It's you're not buying something that you don't need. So you can start your isogenics business and you can make that money back that you initially invested in a day because we pay 20% commission when you bring in your first two customers plus a $50 bonus. So now you've just made back what you started. So now anything you make above and beyond that moment is capital. Like, and the only thing you have to invest back into your isogenics business is your time and your monthly order, but you're eating it and it's a write off. So it's a win win. So, I tell people all the time, if you're looking for a side hustle, especially like moms that just had babies that don't want to go to work, go back to work. Nobody wants to leave their baby, right? But they got to go back to work. No, you can hold your baby and you can type and you can call and you can have a, um, people that are like have a bad back and they can't actually physically do the job that they used to do, right? If you have internet and you have a pulse and you have like somewhere in your heart a little bit that you want to help people, um you can build an isogenics business. And we have the culture and we have the team and we have all the systems in place to help with that. And I'm happy to do trainings. I'm happy to, sit down with anybody. Sometimes people, and listen, not for nothing, but I volunteered in a women's shelter. And there are women who don't know where the next meal is going to come from. They're in such um trauma,
Yeah.
right? They can't even think about the future.
Yeah.
But for me to be able to say, listen, you're going to feel better, trust me, and you're going to be able to have your own business, and you're not going to have to worry about all of the outside noises and influences and all of the things that can be such a distraction,
Yeah.
right? Um, if I can show girls coming out of high school, okay, that they can have their own business. They don't have to go work in any of the places that kids go grab McDonald's and Dunkin' or whatever, and that's fine. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
they shouldn't. I just want to shed the light on the fact that these millennials, there's a start your life program with isogenics. There's like 20 and 30-year-olds making six figures, and they're not even talking to anybody. They're just get in my DMs. I'll send you a card. Blah, blah. Like I'm too old for that. Like I like to talk to people, but in that millennial style, like they're just like send me a link, send me a DM. Said what do I do? Where do I go? And it's there's nobody that we can't help here.
Yeah.
So that's the misconception of people that think that they can't do this because they don't know anybody or how much does it cost to get started. It's really simple,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested
Yeah. That's
for sure. Yeah.
And then, how has this journey sort of changed and sort of reshaped you as a person from the time that you started into the goddess that you are right now?
Okay, so the products you said or what was the first word you said?
Oh yeah, the how has this journey changed you
Yeah,
from when you started until how you are right now?
yeah, I think just physically, I'm stronger because I use the products, I work out, I'm in the gym, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. But, mentally, I think that's the biggest change for me, is going from, like, a broken marriage or going from a situation where I thought I wasn't worthy or I wasn't good enough, all of those things, to now where I kind of give zero. I don't want to swear on your podcast, but like, if you like me, great. If you don't, that's great too. Like, I'm not really here to impress you. I'm here to help you. And my goal right now is to just get a little bit stronger every day, physically, mentally, emotionally, and seeing where I came from
Yeah.
and seeing where I am, but also to see where I'm going, because you can never stop growing, right? You can never stop putting the wheels in motion. Um, so I think for me, 11 years ago, when I started bashing myself on social media so embarrassingly, um, I think now after, just branding myself and I don't call myself an influencer, although I think I do influence people, which makes me happy if they see my posts and they see and it makes them smile, or brings some light into their life.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely was not that person 11 years ago. Not even a bit, not even a little bit. So I feel like right now I'm a beacon of light. I want to shine and I want to shine down on others and just see who I can and just see who I can help come along with me. Come along with me. You don't have to stay forever. You might want to. You might put your toes in the water and see what it feels like. But there's definitely an opportunity for anybody who wants to get started with us.
I think I might even buy. I already have too many fingers in different areas, so we'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll
But
talk. So I'll see you one day.
yeah, yeah, I see what's. So what's next for you? You have like any upcoming projects or things you're working on?
Yeah. So what's next for me is celebration, and it's coming up in August. And then this project that I'm working on right now for women in perimenopause, menopause, anything like that that can help with. Because I'll tell you, I thought I was never had to experience. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be 60. I never had it. And then a couple weeks ago, we were literally in it should I think stories sell, right? So,
Mhm.
we were literally in Walmart, and we were buying a shower head and a candle, like, this candle, like, right here. This candle should not brought me that much stress, right? All of a sudden, I am not kidding you, I'm, like, sweating down the middle of my back, like somebody poured water down my back. My armpits started I'm like, "John, I'm having a hot flash." We're in Walmart, we're buying a candle, like, this should not be bringing me this much stress. What is going on right now? I'm like, "I'll be outside." Like, literally, I handed him the cart. "You cash out, I'll be outside." He came outside to find me, like, at a sports bar. It was, like, freezing.
Wow.
I was sweating, and I thought, "Oh my god, I just had a this is happening."
Uh-huh.
Like, what?" And so when I started talking about it, I started putting funny memes on my Facebook about menopause and putting things on my story, and people were starting to comment, "Oh my god, I get it. Oh my god, I understand it. Oh my god, me too." And I'm like, "Not alone." So, my next project that I'm working on right now is cultivating a community of women that are suffering from all of this madness that comes with this change of life. And how can we help each other manage through it, maneuver through it, muscle through it, however we got to get through it. But my goal is to find a way to help everybody get through it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I'll be posting more about it, and once we get our branding and stuff done with it, I'll talk more about it. But right now, it's just on the front. What do they call that? The back burner.
Mhm.
It's way up.
Awesome. And then any words for anyone that's listening or watching that they just looking to start their own business, they're looking to start just spreading out and pursuing, their passion or desire. What kind of words of encouragement can you give them?
Just do it. Just do it. Fail forward. Get up and do it again. Um, I think sometimes when we watch, like, sports and somebody misses the ball or somebody misses the play or somebody falls, right? Football doesn't stop, baseball doesn't start, track and field doesn't stop. They don't stop playing the sport. They don't stop. Um, they don't feel like, "Okay, I missed the pass. I'm gonna quit. I'm not gonna be on this team anymore," right? So, it's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in business. We're not gonna close the business. We're not gonna stop trying.
Mm.
We're just gonna persevere a little bit more, and we're gonna find a mentor. We're gonna find somebody like-minded, or we're gonna find somebody who's our hype person, to hype us up.
Yeah.
Because the truth of it is it's right in front of us, right? And we just have to grab the ring. And if you miss the ring the first time, go for it, grab it again. I just don't think that and don't put limits on how many times you try. Because how many times did what did they say? How many times did Walt Disney,
Mhm.
right? How many times did he look for a theme park, or how many times did Michael Jordan didn't make that shot, right? So you can't put a limit on how many times you try, right? You just got to keep that endurance going and keep that motivation going. And maybe you have to put like little sticky little sticky tabs around your house or on your mirror, like you matter, I can do it, like self motivation.
Yeah.
And just keep telling yourself. Also, the one thing I would talk about is it's called, I forget the name of it. It's like Mind Movies. You can Google it. It's like Mind Movies. Have you heard of it?
No.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you take, it's like if you have Canva, or like if you have some sort of a format that you can make like a vision kind of it's like a vision board.
Okay.
And so you take pictures and you point them onto the, where you want, and you make like the a picture,
Mhm.
and then like a video, and then you put music to it. You put like in some inspirational music, or you put like something that's gonna get you, like, what would you tell Alexa to play if you needed to hype up, right?
Mhm.
And then every day you start your day and you watch that for 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes, because it's gonna sink into your subconscious. You have subconscious and unsubconscious, right? Mind. It's gonna sink into your thoughts. And the more you see things and the more you do things and the more repetition, it creates a pattern. So if you get up every morning and you see like what you want, what's your vision, what kind of car do you want, what kind of boat do you want, what kind of life do you want, where do you want to go on vacation, what do you want your kids to have, right? You put that in a picture, and then you put that music on, and then you play that. You get up every morning, you're like, okay, I got to put my mind movie on. Let's hype me up. And that starts your day subliminally. Like, wow, we got this, right?
Yeah.
But you've got to tell yourself every single day that you believe in yourself. You've got to tell yourself every single day that you can do this, because it's so easy to get outside in the elements of the naysayers and the people that don't think that it can happen because it didn't happen for them,
Mhm.
to warp your mind.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep your mind strong, like sharp, and don't let it get warped by other people's opinions.
So
Where they say they're like, back there, assholes. Everybody knows one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But not no, nobody wants to hear from them
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
So one saying I kept on hearing was like it came to mind was Dory from Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Mean just yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
that's how it feels like. Sometimes it just feels like an endless ocean, but
Yeah.
sooner or later you're gonna find your Nemo.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly,
Hmm?
you feel like you're drowning, right? But then you come up for air alls and you're just like, ah, I didn't die.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things I say in yoga class. And it's probably not the best thing to say. But at the end of my class, I'm like, but did you die?
Mm.
You
Close.
stood on your head, you stood on one leg, you did a lot of things that you didn't think you could do.
Mm.
And here we are at the end of the class to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And here we are at the end of our podcast.
Yay, thank you so much
Where
for your time.
no problem. So where can people connect with you and to support your work and everything?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook. Lori, I think it's Lori Lee Miller. I think so.
Mhm.
And then also on Instagram, it's Lori M Loves Yoga.
Yeah. And we'll
And then
put it in
it's
the video. We'll put it in the video in the post.
yeah.
Edit.
So Facebook and Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm not like a TikToker.
Mhm.
I do put some things out there, but like everybody keeps telling me I should do more TikToks, but like I haven't done it yet. But I might. That might be something I move forward to, because it's a little out of my comfort zone. So maybe I need to like TikTok more.
Mhm.
I don't know. But yeah. And also you can find me at Charlie's Place if you want to come visit me. When I'm working, I work there Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays. We are up for best bartender, best happy hour, and best wings again, which is really cool.
Mm.
And you can find me on my yoga mat 5 days a week. And if you're interested in where you can take my classes, I think we could probably link that, or you could
Mhm.
reach out to me and I can give you more information about that too.
Yeah, I'll put all this in the show notes in the description below.
Right.
Well, again, Lori, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for talking with me tonight.
Thank you for having me. I was the first.
Yeah, yeah. But I know it's not gonna be last. So we already have about 6 or 7 more. I just signed on one more today.
Good
To
for you.
podcast, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
good time.
I love that for you. You do a great job.
Thank you.
You should be
Thank you.
proud of yourself. It's awesome.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Remember, keep showing up, keep growing, and trust that the right doors will be open at the right time. Catch you on the next one. Take care.